Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, HollywoodShono here, about to give you another Street Fighter V video. In this video, we're going to be doing some testing out for the graphics on the Surface Book i7 1TB with 16 gigabytes of RAM. Keep in mind, during this testing, for some reason, I have not been able to get the game sounds working from the Surface Book on Elgato Game Capture HD, so I don't know if that is a game setting or another problem there, but as you can see, these settings are live on the Surface Book. So that's what we will be playing off of. That's just to give you an idea of how it plays. Alright, so while trying to play the game, as you see, it's about 20-21 FPS, which is definitely not playable. So you don't want to use max settings at 1080p. It's just not possible. It dips all the way down to like 16 frames a second. You're not going to get anything impressive. But if you like good slow motion gameplay, go for it. But I definitely do not recommend playing at max settings on a Surface Book. No chance in hell. So that's the testing at full max settings. You can see very unplayable. Alright, so for our second test, we're going to put everything on high setting. Baseline idea. Obviously, what's going to affect you the most is the resolution. Everything else is probably going to have a less effect on your gameplay. So obviously, if you have that you're probably going to be able to play at anything, no problem. We're going to show off next Chun-Li's battle outfit that you acquire for pre-ordering on Steam. And we're going to put in the Ozzy Osbourne wannabe. So about 30 FPS in the menu. For everything, you want it at 60 frames a second, but obviously nobody's perfect there. So gameplay is at about 25 frames a second now. Still nothing impressive. So it handles a little bit better than max settings, but it's still not recommended. Look at them thighs. Oh my goodness. You talk about male eye candy, there you go. When you got that kind of flexibility, anything is possible. A nice little 37 hit combo by Chun-Li. So yeah, at high setting is definitely not really playable, even still on the Surface Book. Alright, so for our third test on the Surface Book, we're going to go set the graphics down to medium. So that puts it at 71. It's about a 30% difference from max settings. Now, all of these are very important because for streamers, you're not always going to be able to stream at 1080p. Like, nobody's going to be able to stream really at 1080p 60 frames a second. Even like the big streamers, they do seem to get 50 pretty reliably. As you see guys like Kupari and other ones doing 50 frame a second streams on Twitch. You don't see 60 frames. So here we got a couple more staples since the arcade edition of Street Fighter II. Zangief and Cammy. Frame rates are getting a little bit better within the game. So we'll see how it plays on medium settings. The frame rate is at about 35, 36. Nothing to brag about. It is definitely a little more playable, but it doesn't have that crisp feeling. And even on Twitch, 30 frames a second just isn't going to cut it. Big knee breaker by Zangief. This is going to grab you like a bear. WWF style. I don't know what that was. There looks like that big ass clothesline that he does. Into a big bomb there. Zangief getting the upper hand on Cammy. I'm just button mashing here, trying to figure out some moves. A big, heavy kick by Zangief. Just floors Cammy. So as you see, the game not as crisp as you want it to be, but it definitely handles better than on high diff settings. So we're going to put it on low, which puts everything low and at 50. So you obviously got to have anti-aliasing and other stuff. If you feel you get a reliable 60 frames a second, you can tone stuff down and whatnot. So now we're going to the train again. One thing I don't understand is why do the menus, even at low settings, take 18 FPS? I think that's something that Capcom could definitely work on, and hopefully they along with Microsoft, see this video so they can improve on it. We're going to put in Vega. And we're going to put in Birdie, the newest fat fuck of Street Fighter. Anybody who eats a chain is just an idiot. So now, as you see, you are getting the 60 FPS in menus by having it at 1080p low setting. And even the gameplay for the most part is 60 frames a second. You might see a couple dips, but nothing that you can't handle, and game just plays fluidly now. Like that dive by Vega. It's cutting through. Burning through that trigger meter. Yeah, as you see, no problems at low settings 1080p for the Surface Book. And that's just awesome by Vega. I think I'm going to like comboing with that character. That's a little 16-hit combo in midair, mind you. So I'm sure once I get that combo down, and that is just awesome. I really like how Vega plays. So definitely going to be a card that I'm going to enjoy, I think. Now what we're going to do is we're going to test out some settings in 720p. So we're going to go all the way down to 720p. And the reason that is because a lot of streamers will be streaming in 720p, especially if you're not like a Twitch partner or anything like that. So it's very important to get that setting as well. So it's going to take a few seconds. Alright, so now we're back on 720p. We're going to keep the settings at low. And as you see, even through the menu, it's still lagging really bad at 18 FPS. I really don't understand that. And again, hopefully Capcom and Microsoft can get that issue fixed. You should not be getting anything less than 60 FPS in menus. There isn't anything going on. So we're going to go to the Underground Arena, and we're going to pick Bison along with Chun-Li. And that's the standard costume that she has. Big nipples, too, by the way. Everything definitely looks terrible at low settings in 720p, but no problem with speed. I don't even know what that does. Again, as you see, 720p handles no problem with low settings. One thing I also noticed with Street Fighter V, they took away that annoying Psycho Crusher that was OP as fuck. You can still charge at bolt with 1 bar of power, but yeah, it's not really that good. So now we're going to go and try to tone the setting up on 720p. So we're going to put the graphics on medium. We're going to play in the grid. So we're going to have a bitch fight. I think I like her better in green. And we're going to put in... we'll put in Mika. So we got a battle of the boobs. This is on medium settings on 720p. As you see, no problem for medium settings at 720p for the Surface Book. Again, your mileage may vary. I don't know how the 8GB i5 version will perform, but the i7 definitely can handle 720p at medium settings, no problem. I really like that sweep attack that Laura has. So pretty cool stuff here. I mean, nothing really fancy. Kind of like her throws. All right, so we're gonna go test high settings on 720p. All right, so now we're at high settings. Now we're gonna have Mika. Try the blue, and we're gonna put in Laura to get some revenge. All right, so as you see, high settings 720p, you're getting about 54 to 55 frames a second. It's definitely playable, but it's one obviously I don't recommend. Nice bulldog there by Mika. But yeah, it's not too bad. This is probably about the best like you'll get graphics wise. There's the King of Swing by Mika. Street Fighter style, of course. Nice Gorilla press there. So yeah, it's definitely playable at this resolution. It's like 48 to 55 frames a second. You can definitely play it at this resolution. It's probably the best that it'll look. But that is just awesome. All right, so now we're going to go to the maxed out settings at 720p, and you can kind of see like what resolution you can get. Obviously, some of these tests are a little bit overcooked because you want 60 frames a second for smooth gameplay, and you can get that at 1080p low settings, 720 medium setting. But just for shits and giggles, we're going to max it out here. We're going to go training again. You can see the FPS counter in the top right corner if you're curious how the game's performing. We're going to put in Sheikh Ahmed Habibi, and we're going to put in Dalsim. It's kind of nice that Dalsim has a cousin now. Alright, so this is 720p maxed out. As you see, you're still getting almost the same as you do at high. It's like 40 frames a second, roughly. So it is playable, but it's not really that impressive. As you definitely want to tone it down from that. And it dips to about 30 frames a second. awesome little move there by Sheikh Ahmed Habibi. So we'll do one final resolution test. We're going to put it at the 800 by 600 or 600 by 480 resolution. We're going to see how it performs at max setting. All right, and now for the final graphics setting. As you can see, we have it on 480p and max setting. So for those of you that have crappier internet connection, let's say 5-10 megabit per second, we're going to run this test right now. Definitely not pretty looking, but it will run maxed out. Yeah, as you see, 60 frames a second. And this is maxed out, obviously, so there's no compromise here. It is getting like 58, 59, but nothing to really sneeze at. Like some of these dive moves that Cammy seem to have. That rolling ball could be annoying as hell, too. But yeah, unfortunately, I could not get the sounds that actually work with the Surface Book connected Elgato Game Capture HD. So again, I hope that Microsoft and Capcom have a look at this to find a way to remedy it. And maybe in a future update. It could even be an Elgato issue too, as Elgato's been known to be buggy as hell. So if you like this video on HollywoodShono stress testing the Surface Book at various resolutions and settings, please give this video a like rating, comment, subscribe, share this video amongst your friends, and as a favorite, check out my other YouTube videos, Street Fighter V videos playlist, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, which are all HollywoodShono. And have a wonderful day, kids.
www.youtube.com/HollywoodShono. Subscribe, bitches!